changing topics now. We sort of covered it earlier, which around the vision of data within Sanofi, around the goal of the company. But now just getting into how does that happen? People have visions. People have, you're saying we're building a data lake and we're aggregating this. You get the mechanics of this thing.
Yes.
But, the vision of data to align to the company, how does that come together in your organization? What's the kind of organizational structure where this is all happening today?
Sure. And, we follow, we try to not just follow, but beat the industry standards, right? As the recent report from Gartner, most of the board of directors have placed AI and analytics as the number one priority, and in 2021, and automation being the close number two, number three. And Sanofi has taken this approach over the last few years already, and we have truly become a core data-focused organization in almost all parts of the work. We have an awesome data scientist and engineers team working in advanced analytics domain, like real-world evidence, R&D, clinical trials, drug discovery. All of those areas are touched upon by data teams. But let me provide a view again on the enterprise data platform vision. That is also very key. And just to share, why we really went on to this journey, we have about 11 different ERPs globally, and countless other data applications and local data warehouses. And this made our merger and acquisition a nightmare. When we have a new organization to be integrated with our existing footprint, it was a nightmare, right? So, and I'm talking just about the process integration. Forget about data consolidation, harmonization, master data definitions, and so on and so forth, right? Which was pretty much non-existent. So this is why we started our initiative for global ERP program. And we had a vision that we need to have this one global ERP with one core data foundation when it comes to enterprise data. We started off with finance and sales, and now we also cover supply chain and manufacturing, which is huge. And basically we are working with the data that is totally critical and sensitive from an organization perspective, right? And from a data transformation perspective, we have built a strong foundation that is highly sustainable, scalable, and open. At a very operational level, we plan to leverage this enterprise data foundation to generate real-time insights that supports our business users to make quick and informed decisions. The clear vision is to create a data-first culture, which means every conversation and or decision within Sanofi should be backed by data and analytics. So
cloud play into that. How do you interact with the cloud providers, and how does cloud enable all this data?
Absolutely. So cloud is and you talked about data lakes and I think data fabrics and other things also. So basically for us these are not buzzwords anymore. It's very real. We believe that we have what it takes to really derive these things out. For example, I heard that data fabric is the new buzzword, but it's not really a new buzzword. It's just a renaming of data engineering, for example, right? So, it's for us, we are logically storing most of our data in multiple cloud data lakes. So we have, as you can imagine, again, the size of Sanofi, we have all cloud solutions. We have Azure, we have AWS, we have Google Cloud, but there is a very clear distinction between which cloud solution to use for what purpose when it comes to data. Right, like our R&D and real world evidence and those people who have terabytes or petabytes of data to be processed, we try to leverage even cloud solutions like Databricks, for example, for PySpark and other advanced analytical capabilities. For enterprise solutions, we plan on using AWS more, and we have actually delivered a lot of solutions around that. And the keyword being, logically storing and not replicating every time, our structured and unstructured data. So that's the new, architecture that we are putting in place. And we want to make sure that we don't have, using the data lake in the right manner and not how it is traditionally being used. So it's very simple. Like we have one key question that, we ask whenever there is a new request. And we say that doesn't matter what you do, just don't create a new data lake, because we already have too many
Yeah,
too many of them. We cover at this point, we have what we need. There is enough data lakes available within Sanofi and different cloud solutions. There is a data lake supporting our R&D, for which includes RWE, clinical trials, and others. There is one for commercial, CRM, sales, which includes our financial data, which is part of my responsibility. So this is all governed very well. We have a state-of-the-art infrastructure and data security teams, which is prime need at the hour, especially regulated environments and everything. And having said that, we are still through business value that these data lakes have to offer. We are still in the process of getting there, but we are progressing very quickly. So that's the good thing. We are still have issues with data quality, and we are dealing with it. But then there is also lack of data volume, in certain areas, which doesn't help when it comes to data science, right? So those are the things, but we are using more and more cloud solutions, as we say, and we are using it since the last few years now.
Okay, so seeing a multi-cloud strategy and then a hybrid cloud strategy, on-prem and cloud as well, that matrix and figuring how that matrix will work to deliver your data lakes and your data fabrics as we go forward.
Yes.
It's really great to see in the journey you're on to enable that. And you sort of briefly covered it. Yes, we're building the infrastructure out, but kind of the process of your views on how do these high value use cases get created, identified? Mm-hmm. When you put this, the capabilities there, we both know the technology is available. There's not an issue about the technology, but then really unlocking the business value or identifying the business value, and then having the process really to go and unlock that value creation. How does Sanofi do that?
Yeah, so again, here we have a very structured framework. I mean, I wouldn't say it's mature. It's a structured framework, work in progress still. So we go with, it could be one of the few things. It could be either from cost savings perspective. It could be efficiency gains, operational efficiency gains in support organizations and others. Understanding the market competitiveness, if you want to use data to do that. It could be a driver for innovation and product development. It could be to identify a new revenue stream that could help our business go further. So from an enterprise data perspective, one of the key business case is to create this one-stop shop from both descriptive and predictive analytics. So it's not a one-stop shop for all data, but it's one-stop shop for, let's not have a different organization or a different data warehouse to do descriptive KPIs on an operational analytics level, and then a different one for predictive analytics. So we kind of bring all of that together. This includes a global, business dashboard that we created with near real-time data from all 135 countries for our finance leadership, finance, commercial, and sales leadership, which shows them not just descriptive but predictive analytics with sales forecasting, with market share, and so on and so forth. This really fosters a common data language across the organization. So a CFO in Germany can call up a CFO somewhere else and say, okay, I see these numbers, is it aligned? And it will always be aligned because they are seeing the same number with the same application, right? And it's immensely helpful for any conversation around key decision making. Another key business use case that we are working very closely is how do we provide the self-service analytics capabilities in the hand of every employee using enterprise data or enterprise applications. Of course, this is all very well controlled with their roles and authorizations. And then there are a few small but effective use cases that we have identified working in this framework that I mentioned before, like predicting customer payments, what kind of timelines we can expect for better foresight for our treasury department, simulating what-if scenarios with DSO, DPO, in order to plan our working capital better. Doing predictive demand planning based on inventory and historical orders, so on and so forth. These are some industry standard use cases which are valid for anywhere you go, right? But at the same time, need to make sure that we don't fell into the data silos again, and we have this data foundation built, which can then help us to derive additional use cases. So
there's many use cases in terms of value there across
absolutely.
Sanofi there, and good to see the common financial system or analytics around finance across the organization and examples of how you're doing that. The key to is the value creation of data to unlock productivity or new markets, or in that case, is repeating them. Yeah. What I see a lot is we did a good job here, but now another needs come along. And so yes, you can scale it. So everybody talks about scale and gives you scale, but people in a principle point of view, a design principle, don't always think about repeatability of the solution over, consistently. So it's good to see you're bringing descriptive and predictive together. But what other areas you think, not the industry and maybe and Sanofi does well in terms of repeatability of high value use cases?
Repeatability in terms of technology capabilities, or identifying, just to get more clarity.
Repeatedly of the business value. So the business value, you've gone and looked at inventory, and you've optimized inventory. Mm-hmm. You put an optimized logic there, and now you want to go optimize discovery somewhere on drugs or something. Right. And now you've now got the same kind of algorithms, optimization and data sets which are different, but you now want to repeat that over and over again. So how do you take AI models and essentially algorithms and re-provision them as you go forward? How do you guys do that?
Sure, that's another good point, because honestly we are not there yet to have a proper this model in which we can have this repeated use or reusability, so to say. But at the same time, we have a very strong network within the organization of the different data scientists and the different advanced analytics teams. So as I said before, it's more of a hub and spoke kind of model, where we come together on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. We discuss other pain points and the use cases that we are working on, and the knowledge sharing that we do. Kind of an outcome of that is where the reusability comes in. But it's not a directly reusable. Like, for example, if somebody is working on a drug discovery algorithm, most likely if we have a similar need, we may or may not be able to reuse that capability. So we are still not there. That is the idea of in the next few months or few years, how do we create this reusability within the organization? But today it's more about a community model where if we share that information, then it gets noticed. But we don't have really a technical way of making sure that we do reuse. So that's where the gap is, I guess, right now.
That's a good example. It's also coming to reusability in terms of making it systemic in your organization, and think about the reuse in terms of a marketplace, both from a data product point of view, but also from an AI model perspective, and building these places out to democratize, as you said earlier.
Exactly.
So that's kind of...
We are starting in that manner. We start to make sure that at least from a technology perspective, we are talking the common language. So as I was talking about Databricks, for example, or AWS or Google Cloud, wherever, right? So we try to make sure that at least from a technology modeling perspective, we are speaking the same language. And then within that, when it comes to reusability of algorithms, that's the next step. How do we really bring it together from the team's perspective? Yeah. So that's an excellent point. We definitely need to focus on that.